Welcome to the Las Vegas GP analysis. It was a very good race. There are lots of key points. It gave us so many sides of some of these drivers and what they're capable of. I mean, the younger ones. Great win for Max Verstappen, coming from second position to win the race. And a wonderful one for McLaren, managing the fuel and managing their ego towards the end of the race. Big points for McLaren. The biggest points were won by Mercedes today, securing their second position. They won the second highest point in the race, just behind McLaren. They were able to come up third and fifth, which gave them 25 points, maximum points, while McLaren came in with 30 points, which is great. Max Verstappen at 25 points, Mercedes at 25 points. You know the funny thing, Ferrari 9 points. Everything that has happened this season, I've tried to analyze it and I've looked at it and I see that everything is in the hands of Ferrari. Ferrari sabotaged themselves, right from building a new car, the choice of strategy down to Ricciardo Adami. Yes, Ricciardo Adami needs to be sacked. Let me tell you, the most interesting part of the race was Lando Norris going aggressive on Max Verstappen and shooting himself in the leg. Great one, blocking Max Verstappen to show him that he can be aggressive. But instead of him to come back to cut into turn one, he stood there and he ran himself over. And Max Verstappen just took his back and just dove back into the inner part of the circuit and just left him outside. Also, George Russell was able to overtake him. Lando, what is really happening? He lost 2 places by turn 3 and he got 1 place back. But getting Max Verstappen in that fashion will be one of their destiny will ever do. I'm telling you, because Max Verstappen just getting that free here in front is gone. You cannot chase him down. He controlled the race from the front, won from the front, set the fastest lap of the race, won the driver of the day. What a race it was. And to Lando Norris, I know there are still so many things he needs to get in line, but it's been a good season for him, especially the second half of the season has been so wonderful and tremendous for him. But I think championship opportunity for Oscar Piastri looks gone, because where Lando Norris is, he has the opportunity of not falling for Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen still in the championship game, so you can't just write him out. He's still pushing the laps, he's still dunking the dunks, and he's still doing his bit to make sure he gets the championship done. Hamilton gained 6 places in just 1 lap, and that was courtesy of Lawson Piastri, also Gabriel Bortoleto and Lance Stroll. Gabriel Bortoleto was just looking at him like, I'm down the South Pole, you are up the North Pole. Let me just ram into him, and he just went straight, drove into Lance Stroll, and I was just like, wait, Gabby, what you doing, Gabby? Well, unfortunately, he destroyed Lance Stroll's race, and that sets his own race into a short circuit event. For me, I think both of them will be able to sit down and have a meeting after that lap 1 incident and look like, maybe one of these days I come visit you in Canada, and it will be like, maybe one of these days I come visit you in Brazil and we have a cup of cappuccino, because this season has not been kind to both of them. Alex Albon, a wild finish for him because he had a tangle with Lewis Hamilton. He got a 5-second penalty for it. He had a false start. He was reprimanded for it, and breaking his front wings in the tangle with Lewis Hamilton really destroyed his race. Had 2 to 3 pit stops, and he just had to retire the car to save the engine for the last 2 races of the season. And for Colapinto had a bad race. Let's leave it. Lawson had the tangle with Piastri, but unfortunately, the Lawson-Piastri battle set Lawson down and really destroyed this race. It could have ended at the point, and that could have been some of the places in which the Ferrari would have struggled, because the Racing Bulls have some decent pace, though they were able to overtake Adjah easily, but I think overtaking Lawson would have been difficult because Lawson is a different beast on his own. Pierre Gasly, good race for him, but that Alpine is not there. For Yuki Tsunoda, started from the pit lane, came in 14th, perfect. There's nothing he could do. He's just the experimental lab rat that is used to tune the first car and make the first car better, so that the number 1 driver can always win. See, it was a sold out race this weekend. No seats available. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Cynthia Erivo, Catherine Zeta-Jones, she pulled the curtain on the race to close the race. Star-studded event in Las Vegas. And Fernando Alonso had the prettiest, best battles in today's race. Oliver Bierman should have been in points. Decent race for his teammate Esteban Ocon gave Lewis Hamilton a run for his money. He was 1.3 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton at the end of the race. 4 laps before that, he was about 3.2 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. At 1.3 seconds, I was just like, 2 to 3 more laps, this guy would just overtaking Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis Hamilton would have ended the race in 11th. For you to know how bad Ferrari was today. Every time Ferrari think they are moving upward, no, they are moving backward because of their own faults, greed, and complacency. Coming into the race today, on the formation lap, Lewis Hamilton tried to tell the team to help him have a good race. I was not expecting Lewis Hamilton to be the one telling that team in Ferrari to help him get a good race. It's like having a packet of salt and throwing it in water without cutting it open. That is it. And I think it's getting more bad for Ferrari in this situation, because if they keep going like this, Ferrari would self-implode. For me, Riccardo Adami needs to be sacked. His engineers need to be changed. And John Elkann needs to sack himself as a chairman, because he's not telling himself the truth. He's not telling them in the factory the truth. And he's not helping that team if they need to win. Anything aside from that, let me leave that. And to Nico Hülkenberg, great race for Nico Hülkenberg. You know, he gained decent pace, stayed ahead of Lewis Hamilton, stayed ahead of Esteban Ocon, had a good fight with them, but he stayed ahead and made sure he got in some good points for the team. Nico Hülkenberg this season had done a great job for that team. And to Isaac Hadjar, see, the truth is, whether Racing Bull and Red Bull likes it or not, Isaac Hadjar is the standout driver for both Racing Bull and Red Bull this season. Isaac Hadjar is the standout driver for them. Put Max Verstappen in his place because of what Max Verstappen is doing for the team. Isaac Hadjar has outperformed everybody in that team. He has Albert Einstein everybody in that team. Carlos Sainz Jr., great race for him, qualified third, and it's not a Williams podium, a Williams race like he's had 3 races ago, but he did a very beautiful race. Came in 7th, lost 4 positions. It might look like a bad race for him, but for a Williams qualifying third, coming in 7th in that Williams car, well, see, I think Williams at this point in the season can put their hands up and say, yeah, they've gotten some great points, even from a new driver. Back-to-back races, winning points for the team. That is what Carlos Sainz has done. To Charles Leclerc, the star boy of Ferrari, beautiful race for him. He was telling his race engineer he's driving like an animal. He could have done anything in the race except getting a podium, in which Ferrari thought they would get. There was no podium awaiting him. There was no way he could have fought the McLaren, because the McLaren were in the pace of their own today. There was no way he could have fought the Mercedes. The Mercedes were out there jollificating. Antonelli pulled away from him to get that 5 seconds out conveniently. And to Oscar Piastri, had his moment at the beginning of the race, not so good, but he was able to maximize the race. Came in 4th, goodness to Antonelli's penalty. And I think if giving Albon that 5 seconds would have been mad for his race. But Antonelli, bad start for him, also a false start, and the false start can only be seen in slow-mo. So if the false start can only be seen in slow-mo, I think everybody in every race this season needs to be looked at. That because I watched it like 2-3 times, I didn't see the infringement until it was slowed down, and it was a little one. So why was he given a 5 seconds penalty while Alex Albon was reprimanded? Maybe consistency or inconsistency. Well, I don't want to say much about that. Oscar Piastri, great race for him. Came in 4th to still give himself a upper hand in the championship battle to maintain his 2nd position, which I think it will be difficult for him to maintain the 2nd position, except he has the grace and he does beautiful race in the next 2 races and 1 sprint of the season. But to George Russell, pampered boy, mommy's boy, crying boy, gave Max Verstappen a run for his money. Could 1 or 2 laps more, he could have overtaken Lando Norris. His teammate Kimi Antonelli really protected him. See, I can say less about Kimi Antonelli, but I need to talk more about him, because 1, he protected George Russell today, and in those hard tires that did 48 laps, he was able to defend 2 fast cars and 2 experienced drivers, because he's just a rookie. He gained like 4 seconds in a 48 lap old hard tire. That is great. I see the reason why Lewis Hamilton was calling Pete Bonington to go with him to Ferrari. See, Bono is doing a great job with that young lad. That marriage is getting perfect every day. Well, the marriage between Lewis Hamilton and Riccardo Adami is falling apart every day and looking like a possible fall between him and Ferrari, because like everybody is saying, Lewis Hamilton should just leave Ferrari because that team is already a bad team before he got there, and it's not looking like a team that he can save. Going into Qatar, I think it's going to be a very interesting race, a forcible 2 stops in Qatar. And when we get to Qatar, we are going to be having serrated chickens, tight and wonderful track in which will make it hard for those drivers to race, to manage tire, the heat, the temperatures and everything. And we will be ending this wonderful season in Abu Dhabi in 2 weeks time, so you don't want to miss the next 2 weeks of Formula 1. It's going to be great, it's going to be wonderful. And if there's any question you want to ask, like, ask your questions, subscribe, like, share. I'm always here. I love you. Bye.